Hi, and welcome to my channel where I make dishes inspired by some of my favorite video game characters. Today's dish is inspired by Coco Bandicoot from the Crash Bandicoot series. Like a lot of people, games like Spyro and Crash Bandicoot were a big part of my childhood. I loved all of the fun colors and whimsy, and my siblings and I would excitedly take turns playing each level. Crash Bandicoot obviously has bundles of charm, but I was always really drawn to Coco as a young girl. I thought it was so interesting and different that the main character of the series was strong but a little aloof, and his sister was the brains of the operation. Not only was she really smart and tech savvy, but Coco was adorable to boot, with her pink laptop and flower in her hair. I know it's not a fan favorite, but the game we played most as kids was Crash Bandicoot: The Wrath of Cortex, and my sisters and I would pretty much fight each other to play the levels that had Coco in them. It's great that she has become such a loved character that you could play as her in every level in newer games like Crash 4. With her cutesy outfits and cutesy laptop, I think Coco is as sweet as can be and would love a dessert over a savory dish. Like many others think, the Wumpa fruit in the game has always reminded me of a mango, so I knew I wanted to go for a mango dessert. I ultimately decided upon a mango tres leches cake for Coco, and I think this creamy and tropical dessert fits her sweet and spunky personality perfectly. Ingredients for this recipe can be easily split apart into a few different components. First, for the cake, we'll need 3 large eggs and 1 large egg white at room temperature, granulated sugar, all-purpose flour, baking powder, melted unsalted butter, and vanilla extract. For the milk mixture, we'll need whole milk, evaporated milk, condensed milk, and mango puree. For the whipped topping, we'll need chilled heavy cream, powdered sugar, and more mango puree. And lastly, to top the cake, we can use sliced mango and raspberries. If you can't find mango puree at your store like me, simply use some fresh mangoes. Wash, peel, and pulse or blend your mangoes. The first step of the recipe is to prepare our sponge cake, and before we do that, we'll preheat our oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Using a stand mixer or a hand mixer, grab a medium bowl and add 3 large eggs at room temperature, as well as the white of 1 additional egg. Mix the egg mixture on medium speed until the eggs start to sort of froth. Once you see the frothing, gradually add in a half cup of granulated sugar and continue whipping until the eggs become fluffy and softer. Next, you'll grab a separate medium bowl and sift in 2/3 cup of all-purpose flour and a half teaspoon of baking powder. In 3 separate batches, fold your egg mixture into the flour, and once your flour is fully incorporated into the mix, fold 2 tablespoons of melted unsalted butter and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Once all ingredients are combined, grab your baking dish. You could use a 9x9 baking dish or a cake pan, whichever you'd prefer. Pour your sponge mixture into your baking dish and then bake at 350 for about 25 minutes, or until the cake is a nice golden brown and the center of the cake lightly bounces back when you tap the center. While the cake is baking, we'll prepare the milk or leche mixture. The milk mixture and whipped topping needed for the cake require mango puree, so if you don't have this pre-made, feel free to make it at this time like me. Wash and peel your mangoes, and then blend or pulse your mangoes. Sorry for the off-screen action, but my power cords were not quite long enough to get the blending in the shot. To make the total amount of mango puree needed for the recipe, you'll need about 2 mangoes. Once the mango has been pulsed or blended, reserve a half cup of mango puree and a separate 1/4 cup of mango puree. Returning back to the milk mixture, in a separate medium bowl, we'll add in 1½ cups of whole milk, 1 cup of evaporated milk, 1 cup of condensed milk, and a half cup of mango puree. Mix well, especially the thickened condensed milk, and then set aside for when the cake is finished baking. For transparency, a tres leches cake is supposed to be more wet, but if you want your cake to be a little less wet, feel free to reduce the measurements to 1 cup of whole milk, 3/4 cup of evaporated milk, and 3/4 cup of condensed milk. Once the cake is done baking, remove from the oven. While the cake is still hot, we will poke small holes into the cake using a knife or fork. Now be extra careful that when you poke these holes, they do not extend all the way down to the bottom of the cake. Once you have small holes all over the surface of the sponge, you will pour your milk mixture over the cake and allow the sponge to absorb all of the milk. It's okay if you have some mango puree sitting on top of the cake, but if you have some stubborn condensed milk that is sitting at the top of the cake, feel free to dab or remove some of this. At this point, we'll let the cake cool down to room temperature, and this is the perfect time to make our whipped topping. To one more medium bowl, add in 1 cup of chilled heavy cream, a 1/3 cup of powdered sugar, and a 1/4 cup of mango puree. Again, we'll whip this mixture on low to medium speed until the mixture forms soft, whipped peaks. From here, we wait a few minutes as the cake fully comes to room temperature, and once it does, we'll spread our mango whipped topping to the top of the sponge cake. Cover your cake in plastic wrap, and then place your cake into the fridge to chill for at least 5 hours. Whoa! Now we have lots of time to wait. I'm sure Coco would choose to play a game or surf the internet. Feel free to use your time however you'd like, such as trying all the impossible challenges of 100%ing any of these games. Obviously, I have not. Once 5 hours have passed and your cake has sufficiently chilled, top your cake with sliced mango and raspberries to your preference and serve. This mango tres leches cake is so rich, sweet, and creamy, with a nice tang from the fruit to top it all off. The tropical mango and the cooled cake make it seem perfect for enjoying on a warm beach, which is a place that Coco and Crash like to lounge when they're not busy with hijinks. It doesn't take a big slice of this cake to fulfill you with decadence, so it's a perfect dessert to reward a job well done. Coco is the brains between her and Crash, so I imagine that she would be the cook as well. After preparing this cake, Coco would love to share a slice on the beach with Crash, Tanya, Pura, and Aku Aku. The mango/wumpa fruit is a bit nostalgic from their travels, but if Coco's being honest, they have just collected way too many wumpa fruits and need to sneak them into any dish they can. Regardless, Coco and her friends will try and relax as long as they can here with their delicious cake before duty eventually calls again. The recipe card is in the video description if you'd like a more quick and concise version to give it a try. Like if you want a bite, subscribe for more geeky treats, and comment what foods Coco reminds you of. Thanks for following along.